those guys, like, this has been true of a lot of artists. It's like, if you can make a great song, you don't necessarily always have to be a great singer. Luke Bryan kind of comes to mind. There's been a bunch of them, right? Where it's like, I don't know if that's the best. Vince Neil, right? Like, Vince Neil has a terrible singing. He knows how to make hits, obviously. He came out with a hit and then like 4 more after it. If you don't like country music, you don't like it, right? Oh, I can't be liking that bro pop country crap stand right. Give me that real curry. You mean like Rhinestone College? They should, take those country roads and get you home.
They got what they do. What they do there is
you want to do that?
When we're there during our shift, we can.
Slash then enlisted the help of Brian Johnson.
We can order and eat anything we want.
So they had decided to
we just put it on. We put it on our tab, and she just takes it out of our paycheck at the end of the. And it's like $5.
But this didn't work for me at all. Like, not even.
You can eat, but you're fasting now.
Slash play, yes.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson. This doesn't even sound like him.
Not anymore. Dinner. Like after.
It doesn't sound like ACDC at all.
What happened to my throat? I don't know what happened to my throat. I'm worried if this is like this.
Sore?
I don't think Brian Johnson would have been my first choice.
Sore?
He was with this band that he was with before.
Like some stuff on my.
Jordy. And he did sound a little bit more like that in there. I think Brian was one of those guys who could sing in a couple of different styles and realized what we're best served doing is keeping AC/DC sounding like AC/DC.
Roadhouse,
and he
Texas
kind of went to
Roadhouse.
that register and gave it. Because again, a lot of people they replaced Bon Scott. And a lot of people didn't know. Diehards thought it was like the worst thing in the world. How could you do that to Bon, right? Right? It's not like they forced him out of the band. But like people, some people were really mad about it, but others had no idea. I mean, he sounds similar enough, Brian Johnson, normally, but that was not a good version of him sounding like that at all. That was I love Slash. I like, the Conspirator albums with Miles Kennedy. I'm into those. I like a lot of his solo stuff. I'm clearly a Guns N' Roses fan, but like that was a huge, and I mean huge, swing and a miss for me. If you missed anything else from the program yesterday, you can pick up the podcast at WWQ.com. If you're on socials, you can find me there. The Stansbury Show in the studio, reachable through the microphone talkback button if you happen to listen on iHeartRadio, or you can also text in at 330-450-7625. We've got a lot scheduled for you this morning on the show, including this. This kind of went viral yesterday, and I was surprised to hear this, but I think it does beg the question.
It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy.
So Shapiro out there, Ben Shapiro, for anybody that doesn't know, is out here making the argument that the retirement age in this country is set too young.
Is that house?
He wants to raise it. He's making the argument that when you retire, if you don't do anything after that, you kind of lose purpose, wither and die. We've heard plenty of people say that. But people are furious at the idea of raising the retirement age. He's got a long audio we're going to play for you at 9 o'clock. Then I'm like, well, I don't like it. I don't want to agree with it, but that was a pretty decent point about that, and we'll get to that, obviously. We'll do that a little later in the program. One of the bigger stories is what? Jameis Winston. The Browns signed Jameis Winston. And I guess the big we all know. They're looking to avoid the quarterback controversy. We'll obviously address this as a program. We'll do it at 8 o'clock. That's what it is, that he didn't easy to believe that he would be guilty of these kind of feelings and behaviors. I'm not sure that's what it is, but I know for sure it was about the fact that people don't really care what athletes do off or more recent. So people still talk for some horrendous things. People aren't really talking about it that much. Because the media is not obsessed on Jameis Winston and those awful things he did. They reported on it, people got mad about it, they moved on, there's been news stories. Who gives a damn about anything? We give a damn about, we want to take part of the really care about what happens. Yes, are there people? Yes, of course. 8 billion people on the planet. Some people are going to really care. But the NFL media doesn't really. They care about what you're going to pay attention to in the moment. And digging up Jameis Winston's old problems isn't going to be as salacious and newsworthy, attention-grabbing as the Deshaun Watson stuff. So it's like, you know, this guy gets signed and everybody's like, yeah, all right, solid backup. And I'm like, wait a minute here, wait a minute. I thought we were these people, right? I thought we were this. So that it's going to bring up that conversation. That will be uncomfortable for a lot of people. You know, that's and it's uncomfortable for the people who have the cool news story on the news as like their bio. Hashtag this story. It's like, well, wait till the script flips next month and then you'll be hashtag that story, right? And it kind of will help us get back into that and kind of prove that a little bit. You know, the NFL is a big body of people, man, and any big body of people, man, there's going to be some bad actors in it, right? For sure there will. And so we'll talk about this a little bit. If this is hiding Deshaun Watson, hiding his feelings away from what the Joe Flacco issue was going to do to him, that really is going to bum me out. However, I'll say this, like, apparently the rumor is the Browns didn't even make an offer to Flacco. And, like, I'm not seeing the other names of teams that did. I'll look before we get to it at 8. I'll look and make sure I'm right. But, like, you know, he had this break, you know, comeback player of the year and, like, all this stuff. And it doesn't seem as if his phone is free. Is it because maybe I'm a little bit right? That it feels a little Fitzmagic-y? That kind of perfect situation, you kind of put him in, it kind of worked, but if you go to lean on it, it's going to be like, I stayed at the party a little too long. Is it possible that's what's happening? Is that why some teams are like, nah, man, it was a cool story last year. Not sure you're going to see that same story this year. Also, I believe it was 6 games and 8 interceptions. That's a lot, man. If people like Deshaun Watson more than they do, I think the Flacco story would have been a smidge different. Still would have been exciting because he was winning games, but at the end of the day, I think...
But he does not have the talent for keeping quiet.
The Stansberry Show.
Welcome back to the program.
Just only here, sweetheart.
9 a.m., we're going to take a listen to a piece of audio. I got a little bit of it here.
It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy.
That because
I don't think most working people want to hear that.
Culture here.
It's the messenger, right? We talk about this in the political realm a lot. Like, it's not necessarily what got done. It's about who's telling you what got done. I hate it, man. And that's kind of true. Now,
Sweetheart.
can it be true, and is it true of large groups of people? The answer is yes. I've said this before. When you're a little bit younger and somebody older, if they're trying to pass some wisdom on, you feel as if you're being lectured to. When sometimes people are just trying to save you some time. My brother is 7 years older than me. I've told you a bunch of times. David, throughout his life, has tried to save me time and money and frustration and all this stuff. You don't know, man. My generation's different. You don't know. You don't know what it's like to be us, man. A little bit different now. But it isn't. The problem's been the problems. They're going to be the problems tomorrow. It's just kind of weird. You spend 10 seconds on any social app, by the way. The Stansberry Show on all of them. And you'll see somebody go, this is what you should do. Want a better life? Do this. Swing that kettlebell around. Dude, I got to tell you, disrespect your wife and become an alpha. Tonight, brother. Tonight, do it. Right? Like, there's stuff all over the place. You get it here. There's advice everywhere. And depending on who's giving it, that's how we decide if the advice is good. And I can prove it right here. There's a 26-year-old influencer who says, I'm saving almost $8,000 a year now by cutting out 4 things. She claims it's easy and it's life-changing. Well, I don't think anybody can deny that if these numbers she's giving us are accurate, I don't think anybody could push back on saving $8,000 a year would be life-changing. Of course it would. Now, are you actually... right? But she did some traveling last year, and it made her realize how much money she was burning. So here's a lot less money. Quote, it made me think about what I actually need to spend money on at home and also what I'm getting in return. So she embarked on like this no overspending and is cutting out unnecessary purchases. And she kind of found out where she was wasting money. Now, she was spending almost $200 a month on clothes. Welcome to being 25, right? That stuff matters way more the younger you are. I remember my brother trying to tell me when I was getting close to that age, one day you're not going to care about this at all. I laughed at him. I'm in a $13 hoodie right now. Like, you know, actually, I lied. This is a Cleveland Guardians hoodie, so it cost me a lot more than that. But it's a $13 hoodie, right? Like, until you slap the Guardians logo on it. Now it's like, hey, maybe 60 for that, right? That's kind of how that works. But she was spending $200 a month on clothes. I was going to say, I bet most of you aren't doing that, but you are. You're just doing it for your children, not you. And welcome to kids, and that stuff's important. I'm not on you about it, right? Second thing, she says, was buying a coffee on her way to work every day. Thirdly, she was also buying lunch each day she was in the office. Apparently, those categories alone were coming to $300 a month. She says, I had to cut out some fancy dinner with friends, opting to make more meals at home, saving more than $100 a month. So, of course, this woman on her TikTok is being just the flowers being thrown at her. Thanks, sis. Thanks for the life hack, sis. Preach, girl. Slay queen. All of this stuff. And they all think this is so intelligent. Okay. Well, I agree it is. So why when Dave Ramsey tells it to you, he's, wait for it now, racist he was called a couple of times, more than a few. Out of touch. Thanks, Boomer. You stole our future out from underneath us, man.
No, it hasn't.
The dude from Shark Tank tells you this. Look at these greedy CEOs. Look at them. Look at them. They're so bad. They have no idea what it's like to be young and poor. You mean like when they were young and poor and then started their businesses? You mean like that? You know the average millionaire didn't inherit any money? Mega multi-millionaires, a little bit more. But like a guy who's got like $2 million net worth, most times inherited no money. Also, the numbers tell us most of those people drive a car that's like 10 years old. This woman out here telling people the same stuff that Susie Orman was telling people, same stuff Dave Ramsey was telling people, but see, those people have gray hair, and they have no idea what a 25-year-old is going through. Let a 25-year-old tell you, man, is that some knowledge? Keep it 100, sis.
The Stansberry Show on 1069.
Welcome back to the program. 8 a.m., we'll take a look at this Jameis Winston addition to the Browns quarterback room. $2.79 million signing bonus, $1.2 million base, fully guaranteed, and up to $4.7 million in incentives. We'll thank Albert Breer for that information. We'll take a look at that at 8. We had been talking about this influencer out of London. She's 25, and she's telling everybody, hey, man, if you don't buy lunch every day while you're at work, if you don't buy coffee on the way to work every day, and if you don't buy that smoothie, you can save $8,000 a year. And, of course, TikTok loves her. When Dave Ramsey, the old guy, tells you the exact same thing, somehow he's out of touch. Susie Orman said all of this. Everybody has always said this. These are tried and true ways to saving some money. I know, especially these days, right? Everybody always talks about the home prices and all of this stuff, and it was so much easier for a boomer when they bought houses for $30. So my insurance agent is local, and that's why I used it. I was complaining about the interest rate on my home loan, and it's not that bad, but I was like, let me be like everybody else. So sure enough, man, an older guy's like 70. Bought his house back in the day when it was like $4 to do it. You know what his interest rate was? 43%, man. That number again, 43%. That's never in those, I'm 19 years old, let me go into Costco and ask an 80-year-old what they paid for their house. That part's never in there. Neither's the 2 cents a month wage either. Like that part's never in there either, but welcome to it. Is it a little harder at the entry point now for a younger person? I believe it is. Yeah. Is there some corporate greed out there? Sure. But guys, 80s was the greed decade, and yet everybody could afford fast food. Right? Like it was guys like, I mean, come on, right? Like there are other things at play. And Tim has texted in 330-450-7625. He goes, well, isn't this about the relatability of the age of the person giving the message? Yeah, that was the whole point to talk about it. I don't think it should be. Now, this isn't a new problem. It's not like, man, these kids today, they're just, listening to your elders. Respect your elders. Again, that phrase didn't fall out of the sky. We had to be telling every generation that's ever been born that.
Of course, income.
We are an ageist society. Admit it.
We are in the form place.
Older person, your grandmother's age, in front of you, walking through the store, you're like, take their licenses away. Do all of this stuff. Not your grandmother, right? Just mine, and right? I mean, it's kind of how we all look at it. Meanwhile, who can tell you most things? Who can tell you what to do and what not to do? People who have been there, who lived it. Experience matters. Want some proof?
Oh, be careful, sweetheart.
The Guardians hired a baseball man.
Hey, slow down.
Younger guy. I hear pretty damn qualified and gonna be like a really good baseball man. We'll see. It's not my sport. We'll see. But he had never been a manager of a major league club before. So people pulling their hair out.
Probably they have some deer.
But wait. Nah.
So be careful.
Let's talk to the young person. The next one. The people knocking on the door. No? You want that old steady hand. Been there, done that. It's interesting where we want that and where we don't, isn't it? It's kind of funny. I'm not yelling at anybody. I was the same way. I was looking at my dad, looking at my brother who's older than me, like, shut up, you don't understand. And they just laughed at me. Because they said to me, no, you don't understand. And since then, man, I don't have a younger brother, but I've had plenty of younger listeners throughout the years. I've got other family members. I got other people in my life who I know who are younger, and people ask me, what do I do? It's like, dude, save your money. One of the biggest lies we tell people in this country is this. Life's short, man. Again, you think that one just fell out of the sky? It didn't. Life's short, man. Have fun. Splurge a little. Live. Notice that they don't even call it splurging. I gotta live a little. Gotta live a little. No, baby. I gotta live a long goddamn time. And what's going to make that easier is that bread. And saving it is helpful there. Does that mean never buy a cup of coffee ever again? No, of course not. I can never tell you that as I endorse a coffee shop. I could never. We're ageist for sure. If the same exact sentence from a 25-year-old and a 70-year-old are received in completely different manners, the problem isn't the message. It's the recipient. Tim's not wrong. The relatability, right? Well, you're 25. You must know what it's still like to be 25. You don't get to be 70 by skipping 25. Did you think everybody was like, all right, man, from 19 to 70, all right, just skip those middle years right there? Like, that's not what happens. You live. Experience, right? The first time I was ever on the air live, I had done a couple of recorded shows on the weekend and stuff, but it was like the first time I was ever put on the air live. I was still at MMS back then, and it was midnight to 8 a.m. And every air talent there said to me, I can't believe they're giving you 8 hours. They never do that in a first shift. Like, dude, good luck. We're all going to be up tonight, man. Can't wait to hear it. That show was horrendous. I do 8 hours of radio every single day now. I do this one, do MMS when I'm done, a few others out there lurking around too. The worst show I do today, meaning in this era, is better than the best show I was doing when I was doing live overnights there. The experience. What if somebody else my age on my first shift walked into that studio and said, hey man, talk to me about this a little. Well, I'm your age, man, so you better listen to me. Or would the person trying to do this, would they be better off listening to me now? After having 2 decades of success at it. I know some of you are laughing. I feel like a success, and so does my mom. So, my mama thinks I made it. Little Luda there. My mama thinks I made it. So, like, I don't care about nobody else, right? And so, experience matters. Where we're willing to accept that experience and that information and some advice, right? Like, are you being lectured to? Or are you giving advice? And that's where that gets really strange for me. These texts are coming in live. I don't know what they say, but let me read them just in case some people are making sense. I think your analogy about nothing tastes as good as skinny feels would apply to saving money. Nothing is as fun as being broke. Oh, nothing's as fun nothing would be as fun as being broke would be bad, right? I think I just butchered the, fool me twice, man, mission accomplished, hang the banner, right? Like, I think I just butchered Denver's statement there, but yeah, you're a little bit right. This is going back to the home loan thing. Same house is $400,000 today. It was $80,000, 32%. Yeah. So like, again, I was talking about the interest rate. My insurance guy paid 43% interest on his house when he bought it in 1970. Which if you told somebody today, hey, 43% interest, it'd be insane. So what I'm saying is, dude, the corporations, the people, the people who are relying on your money to sell you the thing, to loan you the money to do this, they always were in the pocket, right? Are things getting harder by the day? Yes. Absolutely. I'll never deny that to you. I'm just saying, man, a lot of those videos are put together and presented with not all of the information, just so we can what? Trash the older person. Say, Jesus Christ, dude, just push him down when you see him with the walker at this point.
Live from the Hall of Fame City, and just as bad as NFL officiating, The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the show. At 9 a.m., we're going to take a listen to a piece of audio. Here's a little snippet of it about raising the retirement age.
It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy.
Now, I don't think most people working jobs want to hear that, right? And I got to admit, I kind of always viewed growing up retirement kind of baked into the American dream. Now, I'm old enough now to know that the American dream isn't going to come true for me. Although it kind of did. I'm blessed to have the job I have. I like what I do. You know what? That's the American dream. Fair enough. If I have to die penniless in the street because I had a good time while I was young, fair enough. That's fair trade. I'm not even being sarcastic. I'll take it. Yeah, absolutely. I'll take it. Another phrase I have always told you about is what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And I said that did not come from like a tourist bureau. It's a phrase Vegas residents used to say about how much stuff would go down in that city, and you never hear about it anywhere else because the city, their revenue is based on tourism dollars. So what happens here stays here, man, because we want them tourists coming back. That's where that phrase came from. And then a tourist bureau was like, you know what might be a good idea? Let's pick that up, kind of, let's rinse and get that out there on the commercials. And sure enough, Vegas tourism, boom, when they put that out.
What?
We can park here.
It boom.
Is there?
But now with social media, what happens in Vegas
Hug Heaven
does not stay in Vegas.
Not really.
Not even a little.
Not much difference.
I got a piece of audio here from a video that went viral yesterday of a young woman who had been at one of the pool bars. I believe it was MGM's. And those are like, honestly, the pools in Vegas are like nightclubs. It's insane, honestly. And it's some of the best partying you'll ever do is at them pools.